Recently, Juri Kameda and her friend Gloria Hale jumped out of a perfectly good airplane in a tandem skydive to raise awareness and money for the ALS Therapy Development Institute. Juri was a respiratory therapist up until 6.5 years ago when she discovered she had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. This neurological disorder causes muscle weakness and severe disability. Juri requires specialized adaptive equipment, including the assistance of a wheelchair, respirator, and Galvin, her CCI service dog. Now, Juri has the use of 3 fingers on each hand, which allows her to play her favorite musical instruments and make jewelry. Juri's message is, live life like there's no tomorrow, and live for the moment and don't dwell on the unknown. Our On the Move host, Donna Yeager, recently saw the video of Juri and her friend Gloria when they both made their skydive to help raise awareness for ALS. Now, Donna will meet with our guest, Juri Kameda.
Hi, I'm Donna Yeager with On the Move, and I'd like to welcome Juri Kameda. Welcome.
Thank you, Donna.
Welcome.
It's my pleasure to be here in your studio today.
Thank you. And I understand that you were a physical therapist before you found out that you had ALS, right?
Actually, I was a respiratory therapist, and it was a job that helps people to breathe. And when I got my diagnosis of ALS, I ran into a problem of breathing. So therefore, the table was turned around where I became the patient.
Right, right. And you said really the first signs that you had were your arm was feeling a little weak, right?
That's right. I had difficulty turning a key to my ignition. So I had to reach over with my left hand and try to turn the key.
Wow.
And I said, this is very weird.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And tell us what the actual, the ALS stands for.
ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and it's also well known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Right, right, the famous baseball player.
It affects about 1 to 2 persons every 100,000 population. Right. It's a very unusual disease.
Yeah. Now, the really amazing thing that I thought is so incredibly interesting is that you wanted to go skydiving.
Yes.
And so you did it. You did tandem skydiving. And what was the gentleman's name that you did the tandem with?
That was Charlie Brown, and he was absolutely great. He made sure that I did not get hurt. He actually took the brunt of landing where I landed on him.
Yeah, yeah. And how many jumps has he actually had?
He had 8,000 jumps prior to my jump, he tells me.
Wow.
And my friend Gloria, also who has ALS, it was actually her idea to raise a fund for a research group called ALS TDI.
Okay.
And we successfully raised about $20,000.
All right.
All right.
That's fantastic.
Right. And we also not only raised the money for the research, but we were able to raise the awareness.
Right.
We asked when we were on the newspaper, $25 each person, please donate, and it became a lot of people contributing towards our research.
That's fantastic. My gosh. And you're using a breathing apparatus there to help you breathe.
That's correct. This breathing machine is on demand. Whenever I need a little bit of I would just go to.
Yeah.
And it actually inflates my lung.
Yeah.
And this was something that wasn't available a few years ago, but now you can mount it on a wheelchair, and also you can have a sip and puff where I can be talking to you without wearing a big mask, like a CPAP machine, a BiPAP machine.
Right, right. Oh, that's wonderful. And it just mounts on the side of your
on my headrest.
Yeah.
This is something that I actually played around with myself because I'm a trained respiratory therapist, fortunately, and I was able to come up with the proper setting that works for me.
Right,
and I've been able to, fortunately, share that with other respiratory therapists, as well as a manufacturer of the machine.
Right.
And then I hope that people will be able to, go to college and go to lectures with this.
Right.
Sip and puff and be able to have the breath behind the voice to talk to people.
Exactly, yeah.
step,
Right.
but you know, I have a voice,
Right.
so I would like to keep my voice as long as possible.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And our friend Charlie Wiedemeyer, he had a very difficult time because he lost his voice pretty early on into his fight with ALS.
Right.
And so he, you know, he was a wonderful, wonderful man. I knew him for many, many years, and first met him at the Celebration of Courage Awards that I was very honored to receive. And he actually, Charlie and Lucy, gave me the award that evening. And so, and Michael Nure actually portrayed Charlie Wiedemeyer in the, you know, in his story. So that was an exciting evening. But Charlie was
I think
such
Charlie had a wonderful support system.
Oh, yeah.
And his family was just, you know,
Yeah.
very supportive.
Yeah.
And I think ALS patients are usually not as lucky as maybe him.
Right.
Right.
But and
Yes.
also I wanted to also talk about your breathing apparatus because we do hear a little bit of a sound, and that's how is that timed?
And it's very sensitive to my need, and then so when I start triggering the breath, it senses and gives me the extra breath that I need. It's an augmentation of my weak diaphragm, and it actually pumps the air in. So people think I have oxygen deprivation, but it's not. It's the ventilation. I don't have the good muscle that will keep the air into my lungs, bring the air into my lungs. So this helps me a lot.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. Very good. If you do have a wonderful and supportive family,
system.
it helps. It helps a lot. Yeah.
Definitely helps.
Yeah.
So I often shudder to think, you know, someone having ALS and having to live by him or herself, it'll be a very difficult disease to cope with.
Exactly. And you actually have taken it upon yourself to actually go to people who have newly acquired ALS, and you go to their homes and talk with them and counsel them and tell them that, you know, you give them a lot of very positive comments and positive, you know, affirmations to let them know that it's okay, and, you know, they'll be able to you know, still, you know, live independently and for a long time.
And then I often tell them that the ALS progression can be very fast, and then a lot of times 80% of the people pass away between 3 to 5 years, starting from the diagnosis, and only 20% of the people live beyond that. So I'm a very rare case. I'm starting my journey with ALS. This is my starting my 7th year or so.
Yeah, and you were so wonderful. You invited me to your home, and you showed me all the wonderful ways that you're able to live independently. I mean, your family is wonderful, and they do help you out. But when you're alone, and you know, during the day, you really are able to, you know, get around.
And then my mission in my life right now is, of course, to help people with ALS and to give them as much information as they need. And each individual person's decision-making points are different. You know, for example, getting a feeding tube or you know, getting a breathing machine. Everybody's threshold of living with ALS is different, but I make sure that people have good information.
That's wonderful. And you have so much knowledge that you're able to say, well, maybe you might be able to just, you know, have this instead of that, and you're really able to fine-tune things for people, and that's wonderful.
Right, and then one of the things is that I often invite people over to my house and let them see my transfer from my wheelchair to my bed and bed back to my wheelchair. Because that is something I have to be able to do because my husband basically works 8 to 9 hour job, and then he's not around when I'm tired around 3 to 5 o'clock. So I usually take a couple of hours of nap. And also I have to be independently be able to eat. So then I have this arm orthotics that you know, I actually got this about a couple of years ago. And this is called JAECO, JAECO, WREX, Rex. And then I have a so good enough finger dexterity to hold on to utensils.
Oh, good.
But this makes me able to feed myself.
Right.
But imagine if I didn't have this and I let this one go,
Right.
and then I can't raise my hand.
Right.
And then my hand will struggle and then shake.
Right. Right.
And then I would have to eat with my face in the dish, which is not quite the way that you want to deal with restaurants and going out with my friends. So this little apparatus meant so much to me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Right,
Yeah.
and then I'm good at adapting to things, and we also remodel our bathroom, so my wheelchair can go under the basement, the basin.
Right, the sink.
Sink.
Yeah, right.
And then I have a automatic water switch which sees my hand coming in, and water will just come out.
Yeah.
And
So it's a motion sensor.
Motion sensor.
Right, yeah. Great.
And I started becoming more locked into the house because I couldn't reach for the doorknobs and be able to let myself out.
Exactly right.
And then so my husband and I did a lot of research. We're about looking for far and wide about all this adaptive equipment that makes my life easier. So I have a little button here. And then this opens the right side of the French door. This opens the left side of the French door. And then I can go out.
Yeah.
Right. It's all automatic.
Yeah.
And then on an iPhone, I have also an application that can change the temperature.
Wow.
And that he has a server at home.
Oh,
my husband is wonderful.
Very talented.
Very computer savvy person.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And your desk too, when you work on your computer.
Right.
It's so wonderful. It's
I have a
raised
smaller
up high.
laptop, and I have a big screen, and I cannot type very well anymore. So I use this product called Dragon Natural Speaking, and I actually talk to the microphone, and I cut and paste and send that to my friends as email.
Wow, very good.
Yes.
That's great.
So I've learned to adapt myself,
Right.
and also I learned to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
In a way that you probably know, when you came to my house, we discussed about the violin business.
Right.
So I had interest in violin making for about 10 years. My little boys, when they were little, started 1/8 inch and up to full size were like several steps. Wow. So by the time they got to the full size, I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars. I might as well start making it. So I got into this.
Yeah.
And then after.
But I mean, they're beautiful. I want to
you.
emphasize. I mean, the work that you put into it is very noticeable.
Thank you very much.
It's really pretty. It's gorgeous.
And then right after I got my diagnosis, of course, I was just for 1 year in denial, and I was very depressed. But one of the girlfriends actually told me about this movie called Shawshank Redemption. And then there's a guy that had not committed a crime, but he's in a prison. And then he decides you either get busy living or you get busy dying. So of course I chose to get busy living.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
And that was a good movie for me to get out of my depression at the time.
Right.
And then I started working on violin a little bit, and then I started thinking about starting a business after the diagnosis.
Right.
And then that only lasted 2 years.
Yeah.
I did it until I couldn't open the violin case anymore.
Right, it's too heavy. Yeah, right. And they're actually still hanging in the upper, the second floor.
That's
of your
correct. And then I
home.
can't even climb up there anymore. So
Wow.
I'm actually this year trying to get rid of them in auctions and so forth.
But your sons play, right?
My both older son plays the violin that I made,
Right.
and the younger son plays the cello that I picked up in Boston. And I had done a lot of rebuilding for him. And then it's almost 100-year-old cello.
Wow.
And it's worth a lot, so that I think I try to do fairly for the both boys.
Right.
To be fair.
Oh yeah, and let's see which son actually plays the violin, I think?
My older son,
Okay.
Hideo, plays the
Hideo.
violin, and
Hideo.
he's actually majoring in architecture. And my younger son is at UC San Diego, studying to become a nanoscientist. I don't know whatever that means, but
But it's interesting because you have it on YouTube, of their performances.
right. And there are many little gadget stuff that I show. For
Right.
example, Galvin opening. Galvin will be opening.
Right on cue.
Right. Right. I say Galvin. Galvin.
The refrigerator,
get the
right.
can,
Right.
and then a soda. The command is called soda, and he'll go and pull the refrigerator open. Actually, get me a can of actually beer.
We won't say beer.
and then he can also pay credit card for me because I can't raise my arm.
Right.
So I give him a credit card, and he
Yeah.
actually puts it in his mouth, goes up on his hind leg, and then offers
Wow.
credit card.
Gives it to the, yeah.
And then anything I
cashier.
drop, he can pick it up also.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
And then after I couldn't do any more violins, I had to reinvent myself again.
Right.
So I got into making jewelries
Right.
like this.
Yeah. Oh, they're beautiful.
Thank you very much. And then I'm still able to do somewhat. I'm
Right.
not doing as much as before, but
Yeah.
I still have creative outlet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, for example, when we were talking about the pieces that you have on YouTube, the different, like when your sons are playing the violin and the cello, is there a special? How do you
Oh, that's
look
right.
it up?
When you go to YouTube
Yeah.
site, you just put my husband's account name, Ken Kameda. That's KenKameda, all in one word. And then you'll be able to see all the gadgets about how the door opens and closes,
Okay.
and how I transfer. Well, actually, that one's not on there, but there's a Galvin's little tricks where he gets me toilet paper.
That one's cute.
Because I cannot reach at the hotel. The toilet paper dispenser's way
I
out
know
there.
they're always 80 miles away from where you can't
And I go,
reach
Galvin,
it.
come back. I don't need that long, you know.
Okay, stop. I don't need the whole roll.
Right,
That's
right,
funny.
right.
Yeah, but he's a wonderful helper. That's great.
That's right. Thank you very much.
That's
Wow.
fantastic. And then let's see what else. Oh, and your skydiving actually is
Right.
on YouTube.
Right, YouTube too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to skydive is because I wanted to raise the fund for ALS TDI, Therapeutic Development Institution, and also to raise awareness of the disease.
Definitely.
And then San Jose Mercury picked up on our story,
good.
and it helped us to raise close to $20,000.
Wow. That's wonderful.
Right, you know, we have to find a cure for 150 years old, best kept secret. You know, somebody's got to crack that secret of finding the cure.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's actually under the umbrella of muscular dystrophy, right?
That's correct. So we have two organizations that help with this disease. ALS Association, that's ALS.org, and MDA, Muscular Dystrophy Association, MDA.org.
Oh, okay.
Those two associations help a lot in terms of helping with the funding and also have a monthly meeting. When you first get this diagnosis, ALS patients almost always think of this as a death sentence.
Right.
And then I have to always tell them that you have to be 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
When you start needing a cane, you have to start thinking about walker. When you start needing walker, then you have to start thinking of ordering a permobile or some kind of a motorized wheelchair.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. So
You have to be proactive.
it's best to be proactive.
Right. Yeah.
And also, it's important to pack in as much of fun and love and passion in your life.
Oh yeah.
Every day is your life that you're still here.
Definitely.
And my husband and I try to take as much vacation as possible, and we've traveled to Baltic countries one time
Wow, really?
on a cruise, so that we didn't have to bother with airplane transportation.
great.
So that's a one way to travel when you're out in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Great.
Thank
I got to
you.
go to Alaska, and that was a wonderful trip too. So but you went to the Baltic
Yes.
area?
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to Alaska too. Yeah, but we
Oh,
went
yeah.
all the way from Sweden to Helsinki and all the Russia, Copenhagen, Estonia. So that was beautiful.
Was that like a month-long trip?
No, it
or
was
how?
only 12 days long, so it was very quick.
That's amazing.
And in Helsinki, my husband bought me a jewelry like this. It's called dichroic glass jewelry. That's being now sold at the San Jose Japan American Museum.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then I actually studied with over YouTube. There are many good teaching classes there. So.
Great.
And also, I like to take classes, online courses. I've taken computer programming classes, web design classes. I just keep myself very occupied.
Oh, wonderful. And you have a friend who actually helped you to adapt your flute, right?
That's correct.
Because most people have the flute on the side, and there's no way I'd be able to play it.
Right.
So, but you are able to actually hold it in front of you.
That's
now.
right. My husband found a gentleman that's out of East Coast that we had an opportunity to meet him in San Francisco.
Oh, great.
And we discussed how we're going to do this. And then he said it's all possible to make your flute be vertical, as if in a question mark kind of shape.
Yeah.
And with enough rest and enough breathing, I can, play about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll get pooped after that, of course. But I still.
You played for me, and it was just gorgeous. It was
Thank
very,
you.
very, very, very beautiful. Really
Thank you.
pretty.
So I like to continue doing things that I can. So it's a can-do attitude.
Exactly.
But since this disease is a sort of like ever-shrinking disease where you're losing function of your hand, next day you're losing function of your knee, and things change. I have to always be able to see ability in disabilities.
Right.
You see,
Exactly.
as the disability increases, I need to find that little ability.
Right.
For example, I've never been much reader, but as I become more paralyzed, because this disease is going to end up paralyzing me,
Right.
while my mind is quite there.
Yeah. Right.
So I'll probably end up listening to a lot of music as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, music is always very soothing and relaxing. What is the address, the website?
Okay, so for ALS Association, it's ALSA.org. For Muscular Dystrophy Association, it's MDA.org.
Oh, okay.
And for ALS TDI, it's ALS.net.
Oh,
So that's a place where you can contribute for funding for research.
Very good. You told me about Jason Becker.
That's
He's
right.
an interesting fellow. He was a musician.
Right.
With, I forget what band.
He has his own records that he made, and he was a very talented man. And then at age 18, he got ALS, and I was fortunate enough to actually go see the movie, as well as sit next to him practically. And then Jason actually gave me another energy that this is a survivable disease.
Oh yeah.
If I'm willing to go into